I got a remote.
My code and my phone and everything.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna lock the garage up. See how much battery? Yeah, I got enough battery. That button starts and stops the recording. Well, first time out.
This is a usual drive for you,
Yeah.
right down here. You've done many videos on this street,
Yeah.
right?
It's convenient.
Yeah.
Seems to run good.
Good,
Temperature gauge is starting to come out.
good. She's good and reliable.
Going behind with their mail truck, aren't they?
So what did you end up doing with that, with the 59 Parkwood from Canada? Did you let that slip through and not make any decisions on, or?
Yeah.
Because you know we're waiting for that Parkwood. You know, your
Yeah,
subscribers are waiting.
It was just missing too much stuff. It was missing the drivetrain. It was needed floors. It was like that other one I looked at, and the guy wanted 10 grand for it. It was like, this one I think he wanted 58, but it was still, for what it needed, it was in worse shape than the other Parkwood the guy wanted 10 for.
Yeah, in that car, it needed a whole new interior as well.
It needed
right?
everything.
Yeah.
It needed the chrome, it needed the floor pans, it needed an engine, a transmission, a drive shaft. The axle was in it. But depending on what drivetrain it had, it might be the wrong ratio. You know, I'd like a V8 automatic, so that should be a 336 axle.
Right.
Well, if it was a 6, it would have a 355. If it was a overdrive, it would have a 411. If it was a 348 automatic, it would have a 308.
So what would happen if you had the wrong axle in a car? You combined both of them.
Well, you could change the carrier. I mean, that's no big deal to change the gear ratio, but
Yeah.
and I have a 336 pig sitting in the garage for one of these, so.
Right.
And I have a 3-speed manual. I don't have a Power Glide anymore. I had when I sold it. I have a 283.
Yeah. And how long have you had that one for? The
30 years. 30 years.
So she's been sitting in the garage floor for 30 years.
Yeah,
right?
I'd tear it down if I go to reuse it. I'd tear it down, and
Yeah.
you know, it's been sitting too long. It turns over. It's not stock.
Yeah.
It's got, I think, 60 over piston, 40 or 60 over pistons. I don't remember. It was Jasper remanufactured long block. And I took another 283 apart for the components to make it a complete engine, because it was just a long block. I was given that 283 long block, reman long block, a worn out 283, and a 327 short block for doing some work for a guy. He owed me a bunch of money and he couldn't come up with the money to pay me, so he gave me those engines in exchange.
Yeah.
And I made one. I sold the 327. I scrapped the 283 after I took everything I wanted off of it, because it was just completely worn out. I mean, the ring ridges. I tore it down just to see what kind of condition. I did sell the heads, but the black was so worn out, and so I just gave it to a guy that I knew, and he did a lot of. He may have sold it, and I don't know. I don't know what happened to the 283 black, but the reman black has all the components, and the worn out engine was a 59 engine, so it has all the 59 intake and exhaust and distributor and everything out of that worn out 283 went in that long block. So the long block was a 65 for a Chevy pickup.
Okay.
So 3 on the tree block too.
Okay.
So there's a car place up here where they do a lot of work on classics, and it's kind of neat. They always have a bunch sitting out there.
Oh, okay.
This place on the right
Oh.
They always have a bunch of old cars laying around there.
Do you associate with them? Or?
I have not. No,
No,
I should.
You don't buy any parts from them?
No,
No.
The best place to find parts is like salvage yards. You can go online and you can access these salvage yards all over the country.
Yeah.
And that's how I got the radiator for the Catalina and some of the parts it was missing. Same with the Galaxy. Well, I knew a guy that was restoring another 66. I didn't know him well, but he was somebody that was watching my videos, and he was also restoring a 66 Galaxy convertible. And he had a 65 Country Square for a parts car.
Oh.
And I got the AM/FM radio out of that Country Square.
Oh, okay.
Because he already had an AM/FM from one of his other parts cars, so, and it worked, so he didn't need the one that was in the wagon, so he let me have it. But he said it didn't work. Well, there was nothing wrong with it. I hooked it up to power and a speaker, and it worked perfect. So cleaned it up and put it in the car. Temperature gauge is up to operating temperature now.
Good. Yeah, mine when it's warm, it sits higher than that.
This has got a 180 thermostat in it, and that's where it'll sit, even in the hottest of summer days.
Mine sits at about a third, maybe a little bit more.
In the summertime, if I'm like cruising Woodward and the engine's doing a lot of idling, it might go straight up and down or a little bit more. So I suspect it's probably running 210 and idling, but if I just put a little throttle on it, just bring the RPM up to like 1100 or so,
Yeah.
cools it, the temperature gauge drops right off. It's just getting the air moving through the radiator. It's got the correct 5-blade fan they put on the 348. So
Yeah. Now the 283, would that have been a smaller
it
blade?
just had a 4-blade. Yeah.
4-blade.
Yeah, it was a lot smaller for
Yeah.
The 348 used a 5-blade with a little bit more pitch to move the air through. And this has got the desert cooler radiator too, which is a 4-wheel radiator.
Okay.
That was an option.
Okay. So here we are today in
70 Fahrenheit.
70 Fahrenheit on March 12th. Today is Howard's 46th anniversary of owning this vehicle, which is
Nuts.
quite an accomplishment. And I don't know many people that would still have a car, especially their first car, after 46 years. So bravo to him, you know.
Friends of mine lived there back years before I even moved here.
Yeah. So is there any projects for the Bel Air that you're looking at doing?
Just other than putting seat belts in it and refoaming the front seat.
Yeah.
I hope to do them yet this year. I've just been so busy with doing repairs on the house and the rental house, and that I put off because of the prostate cancer issues. And now that I'm feeling good, I might get into it.
So no more issues. No more issues from the radiation. You've moved beyond that.
Good.
That's good.
No, I don't think he has any cars at his place, but he lives in this house right here, though.
That kind of looks like a modern home.
Yeah, it's super cool. He's working on one of his cars there, it looks like. I'll go hit Woodward for that. What time is it? Yeah, maybe not.
Quarter four.
It's going on.
Is that over the clock still?
The clock
is on regular time. Hey? It's on
I must have disconnected the battery about the same time.
What a coincidence.
Because I took the battery cable off when I put the battery maintainer on it.
Yeah.
And that way the clock doesn't get all the wear and tear from the winter.
Many dogs in your neighborhood?
Lots.
Lots, eh?
Yeah.
Friendly dogs, mostly?
Friendly, people run, jog, walk their dogs. It's just a constant all day. Get the old car.
Good. Well, you know what? And it's nice.
Yeah.
It's nice weather.
I know. I could even pull a vent open. Oh, I guess I needed to go one more street down.
Oh.
Well, we can do that. Why else would they put reverse in a car, right?
Well, you got a point. You live in a very nice neighborhood.
I like it.
There's some very nice houses here.
I didn't think I'd be able to afford this neighborhood, but like I say, the house is it was just sheer luck, found it and right at the right time and just pounced on it. And then made an offer below their asking because it needed an electrical panel and some plumbing work. The electrical panel was a fire waiting to happen.
Right.
There was 2-3 wires going to one breaker. You
what?
Can't do that.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my.
I had an electrician come in and give an estimate, complete estimate to repair all the wiring. We submitted to the seller and they came down the full amount. And the same with the plumbing issues. I had a plumber come in, give us a written estimate on fixing everything.
Oh, she's waiting.
Yeah, and they came down the full amount for that too. So, and the house had new windows, new roof, new floor, new kitchen, new bathroom.
So there was, even though with a few problems that the house had, there was an incentive for that
house.
Yeah. to
And they had a nice big garage. It had what I wanted, a big garage and a full basement.
Yeah. Is your basement finished?
No.
It's not. Is it just for storage? Or?
Yeah, we have the sewing machines, all the upholstery stuff.
Okay. Well, that's all in the house.
In the basement.
Oh, okay.
See, I didn't want to drive over that curb.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the last time I was driving down here, I forgot I had to be over on this side of Woodward, and I had to drive up.
Go through the lights?
Yeah. So do you think we're going to see any other cars here?
You never know. I mean, there's been nice days where we've had already. mid-70s days in February, and I was sitting out on the porch and numerous cars were going back.
By your house, at your house.
During the Woodward Dream Cruise, I can sit on my porch and enjoy watching the cars go by. So everybody from Warren and all the surrounding communities use that road to cut through to Woodward.
Oh, okay.
So it's a nice, you get to see a lot of neat old cars. So yeah, it looks like they're starting the construction back up that they were doing last fall. And then
See the pylons, eh?
Yep, they wound it up for the winter and now they're back.
So how many people do you have in your Dice Hater Club?
Quite a few, including Jeremy hates those dice.
He does, eh?
My mom hung them there. She bought them at Kmart.
Yeah.
Right after I bought the car, she went up to Kmart and she came home. And I don't know where I was, but I came out to the car and these were hanging from the mirror.
And what was your thought? Like,
I went in the house and I said to my mom, somebody hung fuzzy dice from the mirror of the Chevy, and she says, "Oh, I got picked those up at Kmart for me." So she put them on the mirror, bought them and put them on the mirror. She says, "Oh, I just thought it'd be fun to see dice hanging from the mirror of an old car." They had a '59 Chevy station wagon when I was a kid.
Right.
So my mom,
she was already
familiar with them.
She was already in, but your family never owned the cars at the same time. This car and the Parkwood weren't together.
They traded the Parkwood in '68 for '66 Country sedan.
Yeah.
And they traded it in at Jerome Duncan Ford, and back then Jerome Duncan Ford was at the corner of M59 and Van Dyke and Utica, and now they're on M53 in Sterling Heights, and it's one of the biggest Ford dealers in the nation.
Oh, is it?
And it's called Suburban Ford now.
Yeah.
And when it was Jerome Duncan, it was one of the largest, and I worked there for him. But when my dad was originally looked at the Ford before he took delivery of it, the woman that bought the '59 Parkwood was there looking for a used car, and she saw the Parkwood and wanted it, and my dad says, "Well, I'm trading it in a couple of days." She bought the Parkwood when we bought the Country sedan, so she left with the Parkwood.
Now, didn't she? I was going to say, she left before you guys left.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you actually got to watch the car leave the plaza.
I loved that car. It was such a cool looking car.
Well, and that's what started your love for this car, right?
After that, I always said I wanted a '59 Chevy. Yeah. So I got this in '78. So out of my 63 years of life, I've only gone 10 years without a '59 Chevy in my life. From '68 to '78.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get my love for my '59 until later in life. I would have never, at your age when you bought this car, I would have never bought a thin car. I'm too old, right? But as the years went by, and I kept seeing them, people buying them and whatnot, seeing them, I grew to really find them interesting. They're a very interesting looking vehicle. Yeah, outrageous. Yep. It's an outrageous vehicle.
Yeah, you love them or you hate them.
That's right. And you get people, that'll comment on the '59 Chevs, and they'll say, "I love them," or "My God, why are you driving that? That looks disgusting," right? So,
well, my friends in high school thought I was a nut because I wanted it. Why wouldn't I want a Trans Am or Z28 was a?
And those were popular cars.
Yeah,
definitely. Those were the cars to have.
A friend of mine in high school bought a brand spanking new Roadrunner. And he's like, "This is what you should have." And I says, "No, that's what I should have." And I pointed up about where. Because I drove this through high school, So I worked for the schools in the school bus garage. So I drove to school and left school at noon. Yeah. And then went to work, and that counted as credit through the co-op program.
Yeah.
They called it Trade and Industrial Co-op.
So do you think all those things, all your education and everything that you've had, as far as mechanical and everything, helped you keep this car? Keep it up?
would
and keep it
have
running?
kept it no matter what. And I mean, when I was in high school, I could do anything to it that needed to be done. So
You had already reached that level.
yeah, I mean,
That you could keep this car going forever.
that was my
And that was your intention.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't really know I'd own it this long. I mean, when I purchased it, I never thought I'd keep it forever. I thought I'd probably eventually sell it and buy something else, but I just always liked it. It's always been a good car. You just get in it, turn the key, and it goes. I've never had really any major trouble with it. And
It's not only the look of the car that impresses you, it's how the car drives and feels. And
yeah, it drives like a new car. I mean, if I put radial tires on it, this will drive as nice as that Platinum pickup or that whatever it is in the right lane up there. That
Yeah.
Jeep.
Did you notice when you were in my car that the car felt differently? When
We
you
have
were in it?
radial tires.
Yes,
yeah.
we do. And I know what you're saying. I can feel it too, the little bit of a
You
difference
can
in the ride.
feel all the little cracks in the pavement.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a little bit of a rough ride.
They're harder tires. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these tires been on the car. I put them on after the first summer I was back from Savannah because I put new tires on the way up from Savannah, like I was telling you in Blytheville, Virginia. And they're just black ones, and I wanted the white ones.
Oh.
So I ordered a new set of tires for it, and I sold the brand new tires that were on it. They had like 500 miles on them. I
Yeah.
sold them to another guy that needed them for his car. So.
Okay. And when you bought the Blackwells, did you not have a choice at that time?
I needed tires. I was in Virginia, 500 miles or 600 miles from home, so
You had to have them, regardless.
Yeah, the belts were shifting and the radials that were on the car. I had reproduction.
Yeah. And they didn't have any white walls there for you?
No,
It was all
nothing
black.
white wall. Everything was black wall that they had at the tire store.
And
So
how did that look on the car?
it looked okay.
Did it? Because
Yeah.
you see cars like this, and you expect
Yeah.
to see the nice big
I mean,
wide white walls.
A lot of these cars came with black wall tires from the factory.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I
Oh.
mean, a lot of the Bel Airs and the Biscaynes.
The lower models.
Yeah, they had the dog dish hubcaps, body
Yeah.
color painted wheels, and
Okay.
black walls, and they look nice.
Okay. All right.
And but I wanted the wide whites on it. That's what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I was never happy with the radial wide whites. They were slightly shorter, so the car didn't have the stance it should have,
Yeah.
and they didn't last. I got 5 years, 5,000 miles on them. They had good tread, but the belts broke and they shifted. And so I just went back with bias plies. But I think now you can get these companies that will put a wide white on a tire for you. So I might get some Hancocks or some Michelins or something and have them put the 2 1/4 inch whites on them.
And is that an easy thing to do to put
It's a little costly.
Yeah.
It's not very difficult, but it's a little.
Do they have to do that while the tire is being manufactured,
No,
or
they
can it
do
be
them
done after?
Yeah, my friend Dave, with all the old cars, he's
yeah.
had them done on a few of his cars.
El Camino Dave.
Yeah, El Camino, Cadillac,
Yeah.
station wagon. Yeah, he has a lot of them. He had one of every 59 flat top built, but he sold all of them but one of the Cadillacs. I think he had 2 or 3 of the
Yeah.
59 Cadillacs. He only has one now.
That's too bad. I would have liked to have seen his cars.
Well, we can drive up there sometime and visit him. I don't think he'd mind.
Sure.
He still has the white one, the one that's like new.
Yeah.
Cadillac 62, I think it is. Series 62.
I've never ridden in a 59 Cadillac before.
I had a Coupe de Ville for maybe 2 months. I brought it up from southern Indiana. I was coming back with transport delivering vans, so I
Yeah.
loaded it. I just bought it on the spot. I saw it for sale. I pulled over, went and looked at it. Those cars were going for about 10 grand at the time. The guy wanted 5 grand for it. Ran and drove, no rust. I bought it, put it on the transport, brought it up here.
And the amazing thing is, you had the means to bring it home
Yeah,
right then and there.
It was sitting in the driveway. One of my dad's friends, who was at one time I worked for, he was he owned a robotics company I worked for a short time. I didn't like working 72-hour weeks, so I quit.
No, I'm sure you didn't.
And but he bought the 59. He was over. It was parked in my folks' driveway, and he was there visiting and looked it over and
Yeah. And
offered 10 grand, and I'm like, sold.
boy,
Doubled my money and did zero other than bring it home.
boy, that's a great investment.
It was a 390, and I'll tell you what, that car, I was driving it up M53 north out of Romeo towards Alma, and I'm gaining on this car like crazy, and I'm thinking, gee, they're going slow.
Yeah.
So it was a passing zone, so I go by them, and then I'm gaining on the next car, and I look down at the speedometer, and I'm hitting darn near 90 miles an hour. I felt like I was doing 50.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That car flew.
Because usually when you're in an older car, don't you feel the speed a little bit more than a newer car?
You do.
Yeah.
But that Cadillac road's so smooth and so quiet.
Yeah. And at that time, how old was the car?
Well, this was 87 or 88 maybe.
So that car was almost 30 years old
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah, but I think it was just about to turn 60,000 miles. I think when I bought it, it had 59. It was a 59 Cadillac with 59,000 miles. And he wanted $5,900 for it. I remember that too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think I gave him 52 or something. I always carried cash when I drove that truck.
Yeah.
Because I had a list of cars from people that wanted certain cars.
Yeah. So if you'd find one, you could buy it for
bring
them.
it back and then make a grand or so selling it to him.
Wow.
And my boss didn't care. He just,
That was
as long
good.
as I got the vehicles to where they needed to go on
Yeah.
time, he didn't care what I did on my return trip. I had one of the best bosses I've ever had in my life. Was,
Yeah, that was very good of him to be able to let you do that,
yeah.
for sure. Did he ever want a car? Like,
No, he wasn't
he never
into
wanted his own car. No. Too bad, you could have brought him one.
Yeah, he was into snowmobiles and
Oh, okay.
ATVs. And
Okay, all right.
going up north and getting drunk and
Yeah.
going crazy on his snowmobiles and ATVs. So I was more of fool with the old cars. He had a collection. Ken had a nice collection of cars. He bought a '76 Mustang, a '59 Cadillac. I restored a '38 Ford for him. Fremont restored it. '39 Chrysler convertible. Did quite a few cars. Rarely I restore cars for other people. I did restore a couple cars for him, and he bought a few of my projects. And then he had a stroke. He had, I don't know, 15, 18 cars.
Oh.
He had a '50 Chevrolet that was originally owned by John DeLorean that only
Whoa.
had 13,000 original miles on it.
Oh, okay.
And so he asked me if I could get all his cars going for him again because he had the stroke and it kind of messed him up for a while.
Yeah.
So I was going to go out, and this was just 4 or 5 years ago, I was going to go out and get all his cars going for him again, and he always paid me well.
That's good.
He never, you know, and so anyway, I told him it would be a while because, you know, at the time I was dealing with other stuff, you know, with my dad and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I told him it might be, you know, later in the summer. Well, he ended up passing away. And then his wife, who I couldn't stand,
Oh.
she was the most, Ken was very well off, owned this robotics company, you know, he could afford anything he wanted in life.
Yeah.
And his wife came from no money, and she was really tight. She wouldn't pay anything for anybody. She just rubbed me the wrong way too many times.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't have anything to do with her. And there you go, nice ride in the old car. Did you enjoy your ride?
Oh, definitely.
Clock keeping time still, yep. And what the wall says to what the clock says there, everything's good here. Temperature, all good. There we go. Hope you enjoyed the ride. If you liked the video, definitely hit the thumbs up. If you like my channel, that 348 engine icon that powers this car will subscribe you. And thank you for watching my video. Did I show this? Martin brought this for me. So that's a Nomad station wagon with a 348 engine in it. Brookwood, 6-passenger. Parkwood, 6-passenger. And a Nomad, no, that's a Kingswood. It says Kingswood 9-passenger. The Parkwood was a 6, the Kings was a 9, and they were the same trim. So we got a Nomad, Brookwood, Parkwood, Kingswood. That was all the wagons that Chevrolet offered for $59. The Kingswoods are really, really, really rare. I don't think they made very many of them. So if you have one of them, you have a rare car.